Welcome back to Rated Radio with your hosts, Rayburn Alexander and Shane Wyndham. Rayburn, what's going on in your world?
My sister is an epileptic, so cool.
Join the club, Alyssa.
Yeah.
She's a shitty club.
Yeah, a club that nobody wants to belong to. We found this out because my sister is currently living with me, and I've never seen a grand mal seizure before in my life. And needless to say, it scared the ever-living Jesus out of me. So
there's an ever-loving Jesus in you?
That's what people tell me.
Does Blue know?
Don't tell him. So
you're probably one of those people who walks around with a butt plug just inserted constantly.
No, I don't. No, and I don't want us to pretend that that's an actual thing for me. I don't even want to entertain the idea. I do. If you see me, I can guarantee you I don't have a butt plug in my butt.
I got the vibrating panties on as well. I used to try the edibles, but they got real sticky.
Hell no!
I had to shave off all of my pubes, that's
that's like those candy necklaces. Have you seen those underwear? First of all, that stuff is garbage.
I mean, I'd eat it.
You'd eat it if there was nothing.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Anyway, what's going on in your world, Shane?
I just started drinking, and we're already here.
We've been here for a while.
Welcome to Season 5, folks.
Season 5!
I'm unpacking now that we've finished moving into the house we're buying. Not Rayburn and I, but my wife and I.
No, I do not live here.
No, she does not. I gotta say, if you're over the age of 35 and ain't moved in a while, hire movers. You're not ready to admit it, but you're too old to be going in dry on a whole ass move.
You're too old to be going in dry on anything, Shane.
Nah, dog.
And here I told my nephew because
I'm in my prime. I hate to cut you off, but
we're covering his favorite artist currently. This is his favorite band we're covering today. And he specifically asked me, can you please make it family friendly so that I can listen?
Failed big time.
We have failed. So I'm sorry, Gage.
I tell you what we'll do from here. If you're listening, Mom, what we'll do is we'll be radio friendly from this point forward. How about that? Can you do it?
We're drinking, Shane.
I can do it, and I'm drinking. I'm ready. Well, I'm drinking pomegranate agave drinks. I'll be just fine.
Well, I don't know what I wrote in my my top 10 list, but sure, we can try.
It's a yes. Roll the intro. The problem that's occurring to me now that we've agreed is we have a list of songs and
shit
stuff
that we've written.
There it is. It took you less than half a minute to drop an S-bomb.
I can't help it. First of all, I mean, cussing is not an issue for this kid. It's all the sexual innuendos.
Everybody does it.
He's beginning to find that out.
It's just like pooping, but with multiple people involved.
Multiple people involved.
No toilet paper under normal circumstances.
I was going to say under normal circumstances.
I think we failed.
I don't think this is going to happen.
What was your song list you picked?
My song list is top 10 party jams because I likes to party.
I do too. So, 20. Let's do it.
You're ridiculous again.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Well, would you like me to start?
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start since Shane's ridiculous. Number 1 on my list is This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan featuring Wino. Classic. Yes. Classic 90s jam that will give away anyone's birth year away in the process.
Well, first up for me is I Got You, I Feel Good by James Brown. Back in elementary school, anytime my friend Chris turned this song on, I knew he was ready to have a good time. That's kept me feeling party prepared when I hear it throughout the course of my life.
All right.
And second pick, Back Porch by the Presidents of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
One of my secret goals in life, up to this moment anyway, has been to surround myself with a solid circle of people who desire what's described in the refrain of this song once we're all old as fuck. And that's been the case since I first heard this song way back in the 90s.
Again with the 90s.
What's next?
Next on my list is Sorry for Party Rocking by LMFAO. Remember when shuffling was a thing? and neon colored clothing, and everyone was getting fucked up on uppers. While I can only relate to 2/3 of that statement, this track is a great one to get tore up to.
By the way, to go back to the 90s, of course, the 90s are what we're going to pick for the majority. Everyone was partying. Yes. It wasn't an atmosphere. It was more, lifestyle. Is the world going to end?
Yeah, Y2K was a thing.
Yes, I am a Y2K survivor.
Look, we survived Y2K. Well, Y2K was in
2000.
Yeah, 2000. Just making sure. Fuck? I don't know. Fuck you, Shane.
Y2K stands for year 2000.
I know. So we survived Y2K. We survived 9/11. And knock on wood, we survived the corona pandemic. What a tangled web our lives have turned into.
Well, I'm going to move right along to my next pick.
You go right ahead.
It's Saturday Night by Schoolie D. I discovered Schoolie right after hitting puberty and thinking he was goals in the cool department. When I showed up to parties back then, I showed up ready to have stories worth telling the next day. Consequences be damned. I can still be that way if I'm partying and the song comes on. And then... Heat of the Night by Aqua.
Oh my God.
Yeah, judge me. Come on.
I'm judging hard. Tell me why. Tell me more.
What's rarely talked about is all the mini parties my cousin Corey and I had with my sisters back in our teenage years. It didn't have to be anyone else present, though there usually were other neighborhood kids around. We didn't even need alcohol or pot. Sometimes we'd just turn on goofy discs, like Aqua's Aquarium album, and act fools. You could turn this on just to make chores feel painless. Don't care what anyone thinks, this is a party jam.
Next on my list is Let Me Clear My Throat, Old School Reunion Remix, 96, by DJ Cool. Great way to start any shindig, but it must be accompanied by something making up some sort of color of the rainbow in a solo cut. 'Cause it's time to get freak nasty.
Pool parties. That's what it brings to mind.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Blowing Up Your Mind by Lords of Acid. My cousin Corey's a smaller dude, so it's never taken much alcohol to get him 3 sheets to the wind. But he was routinely insistent upon keeping up with the rest of us. It was usually right about the time I was catching a good buzz when we were 16 or so, that Corey would disappear into the dark living room in our Justin home. Almost without fail, he'd turn this song on, and from the kitchen, we'd catch glimpses of him raving his toasted ass off. Then he'd go pass out for a while.
Mr. Keystone himself.
Yes, that was him. Back in the day when he would leave the Keystone to the rest of us to drink. Now, I think he's developed a tolerance.
May God have mercy on all of us.
He can outdrink me. Yeah, it's... And then Short Dick Man by 20 Fingers and Gillette. While I'm thinking of that damn living room in Justin, I could always tell when my friend Joel was drunk because he'd start playing this goddamn song. This was usually reserved for nights when his hometown friends weren't there, but one night he got a bit too lost in the sauce when his lifelong social circle was there. I was in my room, heard this kick on, should have known walking into the living room was a bad idea, but I did it anyway. And when I rounded the corner, all I saw was his bare, hairy ass trying to lift a weighted barbell. He's continued playing this song at parties throughout our adult years, and I'm still a little afraid of what awaits me every time it starts playing.
He's a hairy man.
He is.
He is a hairy man, and all of his hair is black, too.
And back in the day, he would, shave it all off.
Why?
Don't know.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah. Ugh. It's like you had to just lay in bed the next day or two and just itch nonstop. I couldn't.
Hell no.
Couldn't do it.
He did it for the ladies. Ladies.
Biscuit.
Yeah. Next on my list is Fancy by Iggy Azalea featuring Charlie XCX. I make no apologies for getting ratchet as fuck to this one.
She makes no apologies.
I make no apologies. I'm just expressing myself, and I make no apologies for my body.
Saturday by Ludacris and Sleepy Brown. I can't say the subtitle. I'd love to be able to, but I can't do it.
Okay.
I don't think my voice will do it right now.
Oh, okay.
It's not just Saturday. It's woo woo. I can't do it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
I can't. Anyway, I used to like playing this in the bathroom while I was getting ready to party on the weekend. No idea why, but it used to get me hyped. And then When You Were Young by The Killers. When I lived with Pauline and Codes and was working at Blockbuster, my job used to let out early enough that I could get home before everyone was too lit for me to feel out of place. Used to listen to this with the windows down on those empty FM roads as I drove home. A lot of magic left over from the feels I used to get out of this track on those pre-party drives.
Good track. Solid. Good
Yeah.
track. Wasn't expecting that, though.
You know, what's interesting is I've still not listened to the Sam's Town album by the Killers, that album. That's the only song I know on it.
Well, it's a good thing that you're a part of a podcast and we might draw them at some point.
It's just strange because I'm obsessed with different parts of their discography in a big way.
Shane, nobody expects you to know the whole discography.
I mean, somebody out there back me up. Is there a group that you are genuinely afraid of listening to more of their music because you know you're going to end up even more obsessed than you are? That's how I feel about the Killers.
I would say that I feel that way, but I have no shame, so. Last for the first half of my list is No Diggity by Blackstreet, Dr. Dre, and Queen Pen. I recently had a very red-headed man's ass in my face to this track, and needless to say, while it was not warranted, it looked like he was having a good time.
You got to back it up.
Okay. Work trip.
Oh.
A coworker had been drinking. I got up there to sing No Diggity, and he proceeded to join me.
My imagination starts filling in gaps before you're done telling the story.
And
it's always way more extreme than it ends up being.
And I love to disappoint you with my stories. Yeah, I came home and I told Blue about it, and I was like, he was having a good time. We all were having a good time. But this track will get you in party mode if you've already had a couple drinks, especially.
I dig it.
All right.
One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer by George Thorogood and the Destroyers. If you ever want to see damn near any bar turn into a fun place to be, ask the DJ to play this one. Song reminds me of a really dumb choice I can recall making. One of the cutest girls I ever met was a bartender at this place called Crazy Horse. We had mutual friends, so when I heard she was newly single, I told her I'd like to take her out. She writes her phone number down for me and tells me the thought of me maybe asking her out was the only silver lining after her breakup. And I never called her.
Wow.
Matter of fact, I never saw her again after that. Just another one of those little non-regrets from my life. But yeah, good song.
Yeah, no, great song.
And then Beer by Psycho Stick, a song that makes me think of living with my cousin Toby in Irving. I hated living in Irving, so we mostly just stayed at the townhouse getting drunk. This is where I began first tasting and rating beers. Anyway, I can remember listening to this a lot back then. We'd get throwed, and inevitably, someone would start singing the idiocy you can find at the very end of this song. Memorable, therefore.
And if you guys want to see Toby and Shane relive their youth, check out Banter Bar on YouTube, because they do it in 2 episodes. Man, look at that plug.
You know you like that shrimp.
Oh, well, I mean, he wouldn't eat the head, would he?
I failed to wipe the fingerprints off the thing that night, so it's real fuzzy. I wish you should have seen it.
I'm glad you told the story about the prawn when we were out getting sushi.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I envisioned when you were holding it. So glad you told that story.
It's about right. It just wasn't stretched out.
And if you have no idea what we're talking about, check out those episodes.
Yeah. So anyway, AJR.
Yeah.
Which I thought maybe stood for something.
It does.
It's the names, right, of the members of the group.
Yeah. Adam, Jack, and Ryan. They are 3 brothers. So.
Would you like to?
Oh, sure. I'll drive this party bus. All right. The first album that we covered by AJR was The Click from 2017. This was my bottom album.
This was my top album.
And here we go, kids. I gave it 4 5s out of 13 tracks.
9.
All right. My top track was Turning Out.
Same.
And my bottom track was Come Hang Out.
Netflix Trip.
And here it goes. Which is Netflix Trip is the song that I recommended because I'm a huge Office fan on our song recommendation from the podcast. So Shane can't relate.
If you turned The Office on and you immediately loved it, if its lack of plot and it's just purposeful idiocy struck you right away, if you're not one of those people who needed some time to get into it, you might love this Netflix Trip song.
Okay. Is that a knock at me?
I don't even know that it made sense time-wise.
I don't pay attention to the timeline.
I didn't like this song.
That's okay.
That's all.
That's fine. It was not my top.
Again,
so there you go.
I did like this album quite a bit.
I can tell. It was your top. It was my bottom. Anyway.
Notes, bish.
All right. The classical inspirations are refreshing Electronic beats are cool. Inspires a feeling of togetherness with vocals. And the electronic beats can also be artful at times. Keep in mind, AJR is a tech-driven band. None of them, I think they play piano, but none of them really play instruments.
She's pointing at me with her papers
I'm
I'm supposed to jump in and be like, hey, correct me.
I believe that they're completely electronic-driven. So let's hear your notes.
Imagine the pop sensibilities of Panic at the Disco mellowing out with vocals more in the style of Jason Mraz. Their lead, who takes the lead most often, I'm telling you, Jason Mraz is exactly what he sounds like.
I get it. I get that.
This is really easy to listen to and enjoy. A bit cartoonish, as the cover art suggests, but that's to be expected from pop. It won't challenge you much, but it's interesting and surprisingly good.
I really loved the sequence of their album art. I thought it was cool to look at. Moving on to the next album that we covered by AJR. It was Neotheater from 2019. This was my middle album.
Same.
I gave it 5 5s out of 12 tracks.
Same.
My top track is Dear Winter.
Break My Face.
And my bottom track was Beats.
Birthday Party.
Okay.
Beats was in the running.
Yeah. Birthday Party Gage embedded in my brain. So it kind of grew on me, but that whole portion where the babies are talking, it's a song about the day that it's from the baby's perspective of the day that he or she, I guess he's being born, and he's really optimistic, like the world hasn't fucked him up. Anyway, that one part where all the babies are singing, we had to look that up, and it says, me, my, oh what a life. Now me and my people are going to be stepping in time. I just wanted to say that for those of you that don't know.
She's talking about my bottom track, which is something I've tried my best to wipe out of my head.
Well, it's not everyone's bottom track, Shane.
I still gave it a 3.
Well, okay. What I want to say about this album is it's quite reminiscent about youth, which a lot of AJR's work is. It seems like an optimistic direction, more lighthearted, and higher pitched harmonizing done right.
Yeah, you kind of touched on some of it there.
Thanks.
The title and artwork for this one kind of say it all. It's neopop with lyrical content that often sounds like it was written by a theater nerd. The sound does, again, evoke lots of cartoonish vibes. Will say this album's heavier on the pop end of the spectrum. While I dig a lot of the instrumentation, the string usage is absolute bliss, I have to say. Love that about this group. But I don't connect with lots of the lyrics. It reminds me of certain things I really liked as a kid.
Yeah.
That I just can't listen to anymore. They strike me as something in the vein of cringe most of the time.
Which is one of the reasons why I think Gage, my nephew, my 12-year-old nephew, loves this band so much.
Definitely not trying to knock him.
He is the demographic.
If you took some of the crap that I listened to as a kid and threw it on here now, AJR would kick their dick in the turd. I mean, I grew up in the Timmy T age. You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
Next album, please.
Next album is OK Orchestra from 2021. This was my top album.
Bottom.
Figured. I gave it 6 5s out of 13 tracks.
4.
My top track was Bang, but I do want to say honorable mention for 3 O'Clock Things.
The Trick. Even if the verses do remind me of Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Oh, man. What was his name?
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim.
You're going to have to play The Trick for your dad and just see if he picks up on it.
And my bottom track was OK Overture. It just took a little too long to get into. It took pieces from all of the upcoming songs on the album and put it at the beginning. But there's this intro where it's a woman and she's talking, but she talks entirely for too long.
Yeah, which I don't know if you caught it, but all of their albums do this.
Yeah.
The very first track, all of them are a preview of sorts for what's to come.
Yes.
And starting with The Click, I gave that first track a 5. I even had to go back and re-listen to it when I was done just to make sure, did I just have a reaction to that? No, it was great. This one really went downhill right there at the start. I don't know why.
I gave it a 4. I just think I gave the Click intro a 4. But OK Overture from OK Orchestra got a 3. It wasn't bad once you got into it.
It was
okay. I think you're going to lose a lot of people with how long it takes to get into the song, which is not the point of that track. You don't want to start off an album with people already not wanting to sit through the first track.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about the album?
I'm still finding winners and not rating anything below a 3, but their sound is really starting at this point to feel monotonous. There are glimpses here of evolution in what I'd consider to be a positive direction, but mostly this feels like a continuation of the Neotheater outing. It's mostly upbeat, occasionally silly, and probably feels lyrically deep if you're still young, but I'm not taking much away from it and can't see most of it being relevant in a few years. Not for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You?
This contribution was more rappy for me. Older musical stylings like 1930s big band, I thought was refreshing. Like, I believe it's 3 O'Clock Things.
And they do take chances.
Yes,
like
they
that.
do.
You
Yeah.
hear what the rap stuff, it reminded me of bro country
Yeah.
rapping.
Mm-hmm. And it's a larger production value. You can see that while I agree with Shane, it feels like an extension of Neotheater. I think even though I gave OK Orchestra more 5s, and it is my top just mathematically, I think that I'm more apt to enjoy the songs on Neotheater.
Do you have anything you'd like to share with us about this group?
I do. Okay. Their big break, Sia. Found them on YouTube.
No comment.
All of their music is written, recorded, and produced in their living room.
No comment.
Major influences include the Beach Boys, Simon and Garfunkel, Imagine Dragons, and Kanye.
No comment.
And I was wrong about Sia discovering them on YouTube. She discovered them on Twitter.
You said that 5 seconds ago.
I know. I said YouTube. I meant Twitter. I'm already correcting myself. And they wrote Week in a Day. And for Bang, you know that Here We Go in Bang, they were looking for some voice to kind of kick off the chorus. Well, they were at a subway station and they heard the voice, please clear the doors. And they were like, that's it. We need it. They got that guy to do the Here We Go for the song.
That's cool.
So I just wanted to share that because I always think it's a really cool story about AJR.
I expected to completely hate that song because it's popular.
Yeah?
But I liked it a lot.
You hate the mainstream. I fully expected to hate that song because it's popular.
Yeah.
You sounded kind of hipster-like.
I think, yeah, it's that early to mid 80s born generation. It's not a generation in and of itself.
You say 80s to mid 90s?
No, like early 80s to mid 80s. Maybe all the way through the 80s. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyone born in that era, we all have those straight hipster tendencies like, fuck your authority, you know? Don't tell me what I'm going to like. Number 1 on Spotify. I'll like whatever the fuck I want. That song's really good. God damn it.
I think that Blue was born in the wrong time because he hasn't watched Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad because they're popular.
All right, well, watch Game of Thrones.
I'm like, you want to start Game of Thrones? He's like, nah. Because I guess he feels like we already missed the boat.
No,
like it's over, it's done with. And the same with Lost, which is another one that you really want us to
Both
watch.
of those, you could watch at any time.
Okay.
I actually have, if you don't have the HBO app, I've got all the DVDs for Game of Thrones.
You gonna share them with me?
Sure.
Okay. You're such a good co-host and cousin.
I wanted to say about AJR that I feel like their album art really helped set expectations for what you're going to be listening to. That was consistent throughout. So if you see the cover art and some of it reminds you of, what's the Seth Green show?
Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
It reminded me of...
Not that the sound is going to remind you of Robot Chicken.
No.
By way of comparison,
kind of claymation. It looks very cartoonish. It's kind of claymation sort of thing. It also reminded me a lot of stuff that the Gorillas do.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm talking about.
The music made me feel like I'm a character in the Muppets.
Which one?
Take that for what it's worth. No, like I am a Muppet.
Oh,
like,
you're your own Muppet. You're not...
Me as myself
okay.
is a character in the Muppets.
Okay.
Which I'd still get to be myself, but I can't not know that I'm...
a Muppet.
Yeah, got a fucking whole arm up my ass.
Okay.
Sorry, Samantha. We were trying to some extent.
No, we weren't. Don't lie to her. No, we weren't.
To be most successful in the future, I feel like the group should emphasize strings, lean into rock, and mature the lyrics a little more often. I liked a lot of this. They hit really close to home with a bunch of it, and some of it is genuinely deep. But trying to grab that like current pop culture reference thing that they do a lot, it's bugging me.
it takes me back to being a kid and having, I guess, discovering the harsh truths of the world, like going into it with a lot of optimism and seeing the world in color.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're super, super creative at times. And I know at times it does get monotonous, but I think that they take a lot of chances when it comes to like the electronic pop. And I have high hopes that they're going to continue to do good work, but you do have to be in sort of a certain mind frame to sort of take them in. Really youth driven,
It's
really fun, light, even though sometimes they talk about some darker things. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, you won't know because it's usually put to that happier beat.
Yep.
So,
And to make clear my issue with certain lyrics, the references are often too personal to have broad appeal. They can also be too much of a grab at pop culture stuff. Sometimes they're outright corny, but that's the easiest offender for me to overlook. I really do think this group has something worthwhile to offer. It just needs dialed in a little bit.
Okay.
You know, I'm not here expecting intricate melodies like I get from Dream Theater. Or I think they're pretty talented musicians. If you are someone who, say, likes the Hamilton soundtrack a lot, it's because there's something theater-ish about this.
Yeah.
But I think this is done in a way that's really going to appeal to your sensibilities in other genres of music, might help you broaden your tastes.
Yeah. I like AJR.
Yeah.
I like all of their albums. I didn't give anything below a 3.9 for any of their albums. I really enjoy what they have to offer. And like I said, it's fun. And I will probably be listening to them more in the future.
About half of this stuff got 5s out of me, so can't complain.
Well, let's not complain. Are you ready to take a break?
Let's break. My kid is partying his ass off.
I told him I was coming in here to take a nap with you. I'm not sure how he feels about that. He's supposed to be taking a nap too. I thought by me saying I was taking a nap would encourage him to take one. Apparently not. He's living his best life out there.
Why would you tell my kid you're coming in a closed-ass office to take a nap with his dad?
I didn't say I was taking a nap with you. I said I was taking a nap in Dada's office, and then you followed me in here.
I'm going to have to take him to his daycare at some point this coming year. And we'll be going in and he'll be like, Dad, maybe you stay? You take a nap with Miss Amanda or Miss whoever's in the building? Like, oh, God.
It'll be fine.
Sure, son. I'll stay just for you.
You got any recommendations or plugs?
Yeah, I wanted to recommend a song called Back to a Reason by Savatage. Their Poets and Madmen album is finally on Spotify. I'm recommending this track because most people likely know the Trans-Siberian Orchestra version, but I've always thought this one was superior. What about you?
My recommendation is going to be an extension from our Battle of the Bands for season 4.
Season finale?
Season finale.
Gotcha.
They finally put all the songs from Bo Burnham's Inside on Spotify. They were not going to because Netflix was trying to have control over that. I guess the need and want for it was too high, so they said screw it and put it under his account. So give that a listen for those that have been having to find pieces of it on YouTube. My personal favorites are All Eyes on Me, That Funny Feeling, 30, and Comedy, which you can also find on my Spotify song recommendations from the podcast.
So basically, Raven recommended a lot of songs.
I did.
Or a whole ass album, if you will.
A whole ass album. I mean, you can listen to that. I just can't put it on my Spotify.
So my plug, much to my own chagrin here, it's Wingstop's Ranch. Yeah, Raven's loving this. I haven't been a ranch person in a very, very long time, but Wingstop's Ranch really is in a class all by itself. I would say the only thing that even compares is when you go to a place and you get like that ancho chili type, you know, like I think it's Chili's where when you order those bacon ranch quesadilla things and they bring that mixed with something else ranch out. That's like the only thing that compares to Wingstop's Ranch.
I'm so glad that we have a new ranch to talk about.
She was waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, okay. So Blue and I, when we order Wingstop, we order like 2 large ranches because we will use that shit instead of like Hidden Valley Ranch is garbage compared to this stuff. I'm sorry, I said it. Don't come for me or come for me. I don't give a shit.
Kraft, Hidden Valley, fuck all y'all shit.
No.
This This is otherworldly.
It's next level, but I'm so glad we have a new ranch to talk about, because the last ranch we talked about was when you got drunk and we terrorized your wife when she took me and you.
We
I laughed at your stupid ass.
I was about to say,
I was not helping the situation.
I thought you just sat in the back. And...
No, I was laughing. It was really you. Shane, we were all drinking except for Megan, and we took a trip to Jack in the Box. Shane's stupid ass has to be annoying to the
We were in the drive-thru.
Yeah, go ahead.
They were trying to verify.
No, they were not.
No,
you were just screaming.
Y'all were attempting to verify that you were ordering everything correctly. Okay. And I kept seeing all over the menu with my drunk ass about this ghost pepper ranch sauce. Mm-hmm. So as she's ordering, I'm talking shit on the side, and we pull up to the window.
Yes.
And there's another fucking sign there. So the thing opens, and I'm just...
He goes,
ask about some motherfucking ghost pepper ranch
sauce. Ghost pepper ranch. And Megan's just like, shut the fuck up, because she's just trying to get food for everybody, because we got sent to go get food for everyone. So new ranches to talk about.
We went to Jack in the Box a long time ago, before Megan days, before all of that. Everyone in the vehicle was really drunk. Mm-hmm. And there was another vehicle behind us that was from our party. And so we get through, and it's backed up because it's late at night. And so the truck behind us pulls up with their people, and one of our friends inside that truck I thought was passed out, gone. Surprised they even got him in the truck. We could hear them trying to ask him what he wanted. He wasn't saying anything. We eventually see him sit up, and his hand comes out, and he says, I want $5 frickin' worth of tacos. And he smacks a 5 up against the the drive-through fucking menu thing.
Yeah.
And laid back down. So he lost his $5.
Oh my God. I thought he high-fived it. He had a $5 bill in his hand?
Yeah, he had his 5.
Oh my God.
He hit the thing with his 5, thinking he was paying somebody, and then laid back down.
Somebody found $5 and they were happy.
I'm sure the people in the truck probably got it out to pay for his food, but...
Wingstop Ranch. Try it today.
Is that all we had?
That's all we have.
All right.
Let's get back to it.
Let's talk about Imagine Dragons. All alone in my office, listening to the air conditioning. Raven left her beer sitting on the table. It looks pretty good. I might just have to drink it for her. Probably not, though, because I'm a nice person. Are you a nice person if you think things but you don't do them? Or is just thinking about it make you a not nice person? I got questions, life, Nobody to answer my questions. Sometimes I even ask for answers to my questions, and people still don't be helping me out. Let's talk about Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some Imagine Dragons. You wanna drive this bus? No, I'm driving. All right, I'm still driving. The first album that we covered by Imagine Dragons was Nightvisions from 2012. This was my bottom album.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I agree with you.
I gave it 5 5s out of 12 tracks.
Same.
My top track is It's Time.
Amsterdam.
It was too good to last.
Mm-hmm.
And my bottom track was Hear Me.
Underdog.
So what I want to say about this album, a couple things. If you listen to the second track, Tiptoe, the piano was giving me serious Revenge of the Nerds vibes. Like the song at the end of Revenge of the Nerds. Mm-hmm. Like the electronic piano. And if you listen to track 11, which is Nothing Left to Say, the intro sounds an awful lot like Look What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift.
Okay.
At times, they remind me of newer Maroon 5. Definitely electronic rock / pop.
Yeah, this album's pure alt pop and probably responsible for the rise we've seen in that genre's popularity. This is to say it's unique and memorable. Some of it can be a little too poppy, repetitive, or lyrically empty for me. What it gets right, though, it does in a very big way. 12th track was hidden.
Yes, it was. Which Shane proceeded to let me know that beforehand. Speaking of Revenge of the Nerds.
I should start laughing like that all the time. I've never laughed like that in my life. I just wanted to try it.
Well, Blue says I laugh like Cross-Eyed Dude from Waterboy.
Okay.
Speaking of, when Gage stayed with us, he got to watch 4 brand new Adam Sandler movies for the first time. I got the approval from his parents. Waterboy, Big Daddy, Grown Ups, and Pixels. Grown Ups was the most inappropriate of them all.
Of course.
It was also Gage's favorite.
Title's the giveaway.
Surprise. But he thought Big Daddy was very wholesome. He thought it was sweet.
It is. It is pretty wholesome and sweet.
So he really liked it.
What's funny about the Grown Ups films is I can remember that there are big name comedians in it. But literally the only thing I remember about either two of those films is Nick Swartzen in the second movie going into the store. He's looking at rafts in the boxes.
It blows up.
There's a raft in there. Boo. Yeah.
I haven't seen the second one. I know what scene you're talking about, but every time I think of Grown Ups, I always think of Maze. It's amazing. And then Gage started to catch on. He's like, "Hey, that guy's in Waterboy. Wait, that guy's in Waterboy too." And like he's starting to see
that Adam Sandler
these are Adam
recast.
Sandler's friends,
yeah.
and he's recasting them. And he thinks Grown Ups was based off of Adam Sandler's lives, and like they all grew up. I said, "Dude,
wow,
no." But I don't want to crush his wonderful view of Adam Sandler at this point. So he's starting to really enjoy him.
Well, you can't hear it anyway. You can't be listening to this episode unless you got a titty popped in your mouth right now. Smacking an ass, you know?
Yeah.
Humping and dumping.
Okay.
I've never said that in my life.
You cringed after you said it. Let's get to the next album of Imagine
I was just trying
Dragons.
to make sure he wasn't hearing it so you didn't break his heart. What's the next album?
Next album is Smoke and Mirrors from 2014. This was my top album.
Agreed.
I gave it 8 5s out of 13 tracks.
11.
My top track was Dream.
Shots.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Dream.
I know
really
you do.
Love Dream.
I know you do.
I don't know, something about Shots.
It's on your mix or your soundtrack for your novel. That it's the first song off of.
It's one of those songs I think you realize you've evolved as a person. You're big enough to know that you've made mistakes in your past.
Yeah.
And you have to live with it. You want to be better than that. Yeah. So recognition is the first step. And then, I don't know. It appeals to me a lot.
It reminds me of, what is the show with Jughead and Archie? Riverdale. Duh. It reminds me of like...
Never seen it.
It's a dark take on the Archie comics.
You said Jughead, and I was thinking of like old horror films.
No. Jughead Jones, man. All right. Anyway, my bottom track was Summer.
Trouble, although I still dig it.
This is 80s beat inspired, darker direction, deeper and bassier instrumentals. It does start to feel a little bit more bland at the end, but not so much that it affects the overall outcome of the album. Dan Reynolds, who is the lead singer of Imagine Dragons, this album was all about his journey through depression, and I think it shows.
Yeah, I heard a lot of storytelling from this album, seeing them live. They're fantastic live, by the way. This album takes everything great about their debut and magnifies it. It's punchier, more pensive, and ridiculously listenable. It still falters in spots, but is greater on the whole. It'll grow on you as well, maybe even to the point that you stop hearing Disturbed Sickness when Friction plays.
Aww.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go back and listen to it. I love that song.
Yeah,
Dang.
it's good, but I hated it when I first heard it. I was like, I can't.
Which Disturbed song? Say it again.
Sickness.
Okay.
Their first major hit. And the song on this album is Friction. Both good songs.
Yeah. The instrumental for I'm So Sorry off of this album was actually in the third Kung Fu Panda movie. It's like the main bad guy's theme, but they change it so much that you don't think it's...
You don't notice?
Yeah. Until and I'm like, that's an Imagine Dragons song.
I know that.
I know that. My boyfriend's obsessed with Kung Fu Panda, so. So when you called me Po from Kung Fu Panda a couple episodes back, I'm like, that's why he loves me, because I'm a panda. Anyway, moving on to our next album. It's Evolve from 2017. This was my middle album.
Agreed. And worth pointing out that we rated the digital re-release, so it's 12 tracks.
Yes. I gave it 5 5s out of 12 tracks.
10.
Okay. My top track was Walking the Wire.
Same.
And my bottom track was Start Over.
Yesterday.
Harmonies are pleasant. This is a more romantic direction for them. It has the same sound, but like I said, a different, more sensual, loving direction.
Should not have looked in your eyes when you said sensual.
Sensual. Did I give
Sensual.
eyebrows with it? Sensual.
No. Just like a deadpan stare. It made it even more disturbing.
Sensual.
Take the big sound of Smoke and Mirrors, add some 80s soft rock vibes, bring most of the debut's mistakes back, and you end up with this album. The problem here, in spite of all my fives, is too much pop and repetition. This album is what jump scares and horror movies are to me for the most part. While there's serious brilliance here, there's also a lot of cheap thrills. Good, but uneven.
What other additional things I want to say about Imagine Dragons in the albums that we covered? I really like their album art. I think that I liked Smoke and Mirrors the most, while Evolve is really, really cool because it's dark and it's got that rainbow. Kind of reminds me of our Rated Radio logo and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Similar sounding songs and artists include One Republic for me, Maroon 5, AWOL Nation, Bastille, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, and AJR. And the music makes me feel like I'm flying in different versions of weather.
I thought you were weird for putting these two artists together until I started to try to think about what the music makes me feel like. And it's like I'm a character, myself, as a character in the Shrek movies versus being a character in the Muppets. So depending on which you would prefer to be in, I think you can, at a distance, know which artist you're going to like more.
Have you talked to your sisters recently?
No.
About Shrek in any way?
No.
Okay, so it's funny that you say that because recently I just texted your sisters, two out of your three sisters, and when we were kids, they used to...
Why you gotta leave one out, Rayburn? It's cold-blooded, Rayburn.
I'm pretty sure she was with them. Anyway, sorry. They used to pick people in our family.
I have 4 sisters, by the way, Rayburn. Why didn't you text all 4 of them?
Because I've never spoken to your 4th. So shut up.
Go ahead.
Anyway, they used to pick characters from a movie for people in the family. And the one that I can specifically remember is they took the first Shrek movie and made everybody in the family a character. But I couldn't remember who was who. The only people that I could remember was you. You were the 3. Pick number 3, my lord.
Lovely.
I messaged them and I remember...
I'm the mean one, right?
Yeah. I messaged them and I was like, who is who? Katie was Gingy. I found out. Laura was the dragon. There was a couple others. But yeah, everybody had a character. And I was Snow White. And Jordan, you're not your youngest sister? Stormy's your youngest sister.
Jordan.
Like I said, I don't talk to Stormy. Anyway, that is her name, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I don't want to be a dick. Jordan was Cinderella. And in the first movie, Cinderella and Snow White get into a cat fight. I don't know why. Because we were the best of friends. I don't know why we were fighting in that movie. But yeah, you were 3. Pick number 3, my lord. And I always think of you when I watch that movie.
Y'all are going to hell. So, some notes here. Rock fans could be forgiven for not realizing just how talented these musicians are. It often feels like they've dumbed down their ability to write complex stuff in an effort to appeal to the masses. And we all see just how successful that's made them. Secretly, though, I'm hoping their future LPs are less Queen, more Pink Floyd. And that's what I felt like that Smoke and Mirrors album was.
More Pink Floyd.
Less Queen.
There's nothing wrong with Queen.
Less Queen.
Nothing wrong with Queen. Some other notes I want to say is Imagine Dragons is an anagram, but the band has not said what for yet, so I don't know what that's about. Wayne, the lead guitarist, writes a lot of the band's music due to insomnia, so he stays up late writing a lot of their music. Quit looking at me like that. 3 members.
I just had to stop myself from joking about Wayne sounding like Wang.
Wang. Yeah. You're a 12-year-old little boy.
I need another drink.
Yeah. Yeah, sure you do. 3 members studied at Berklee College of Music, and they all did the music for the Broadway Spider-Man show that all the Spider-Mans kept getting injured for. So, never seen it because I don't think that it ever really happened, but they did all the music for it. So, interesting.
Riveting.
Are you ready to move on to the second half of our list?
I am.
All right. Why don't you start?
Party jams.
No.
I wrote party songs because you're not allowed to use jams.
Why?
It's trademarked by me for ridiculous only.
Oh, okay.
Ridiculous jams.
Okay, sure.
So, 11th pick here is I'm In It by Kanye West. When I wound up unexpectedly single in '08, I kind of lost my damn mind. This is the only song I know of that sounds the way those 2 months worth of nights tended to feel. The difference between a Tuesday and a Friday night? Wrong person to ask at that time. Nightlife then was a constant chorus for me of I am the drunk, I am the poet, I am the sex. Leave your clothes at the door. It felt like an endless party once the sun went down. Sadly, all that drove it was my desire to hide how much I'd been hurt.
At that time, would you say you detached yourself emotionally?
Not exactly, no. From almost everyone on the planet, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Not...
The problem was it's also when I got extremely close to another human being. And anyway, my 12th pick here is Robot Rock by Daft Punk. One of the better things to have come of the aforementioned breakup was my nearness to my now brother-in-law, Sean. When we first started discussing the concept of doing P-Man videos, these are videos in which Sean would simply pee all over all sorts of things, I imagined this song being what we'd cut into those videos, since we were always listening to it while partying. Unfortunately, copyright's a real bitch about usage, and YouTube disallowed the existence of P-Man pretty quickly.
Which crude mama's boy peed on a piece of cheese?
It was Sean.
That was Sean? Okay, so did YouTube...
P-Man versus Cheese was blocked.
Okay. I got to see it in its prime, P-Man versus Cheese. I was just wondering which one.
And nobody actually peed on anything. We put like water mixed with orange juice or some lemonade or something in a bag and just poured it out where you couldn't see it.
I had no idea. I literally thought P-Man was peeing on cheese.
The original concept... We were coming back from the cabin, I think, and we were reading signs and something developed into, we were trying to write a song, I think is what it was, on the road. And I'm sure Megan wanted to put us out constantly, but it was like, P-Man, he's running while he pees. P-Man, he's running full speed.
Riveting 4 hours for Megan.
So it was just this like picture of a dude butt-ass naked, which we suspected was going to be Sean, butt-ass naked, arms flailing as high as he could get them while he ran. Yeah. And he's just trying to pee at the same time, just like pissing all down the road. That was going to be the P-Man video if we could ever write the full song. I
obviously know what Sean looks like because I've been around him. I say quite a bit, but more than others. But every time I think of Johnny Knoxville, I think of Sean because his wife, his now wife, mother to his children, said that he looks just like Johnny Knoxville to her. And one of the reasons why she fell in love with him was his sense of humor. So, funny guy.
Very funny guy.
Moving on to my next pick, or my first pick for the second half of our list. It's Party Hard by Andrew W.K. The title speaks for itself on this one, but what I will say is congrats to him and Kat Dennings on their recent engagement. And that's enough reason to party.
Kat Dennings. That's a party in and of itself. Turtleneck and Chain by The Lonely Island and Snoop Dogg. Rayburn already blew my wad on this one. This was one of my favorite Halloween costume efforts because it was directly associated with a song. And that's just so my style that nothing will likely ever compare. Maybe what I'll do is give her all my photos from that night so she can share them on social. Maybe.
Sure. I'm in one of those photos.
Yes, you are.
I was a vampire. So another one of the classic Halloween parties in Richardson. Plano, Richardson.
What you may not know is that was me from like 7:30 in the morning all the way through to 3 or 4 a.m. that night.
I know, you told me. But Shane has a tendency at Halloween parties. That turtleneck and chain, simple costume. But he stuck to a character the entire day and the entire night. And then I remember that Halloween party where you had a costume change in the middle of it, where you were one thing, I can't remember what it is, but then you were that old man. Choice.
Yes.
Made a lot of people's night.
I like the old man.
The old man is good.
Hard White by Yellow Wolf and Lil Jon is my other pick. Throwback to a point in my life where I was beginning to understand that I couldn't love freely without losing anyone. I've made no secret of the fact that I'd gladly have multiple partners. The difference between me and those religious types they make TV shows about is that I wouldn't expect monogamy from my partners where I wasn't offering it in return. Ready to be over all that jealous shit, but it just so happens that the person I've made a commitment to doesn't share my mindset. Coming to terms with that saw me do a lot of overkill on the party front for a while, and this was my jam in those days.
All right. Jam out.
I just feel like you never know what to come back. What's your next pick, Rayburn?
I'm just going to go with my next pick. Yeah, I never offer enough riveting conversation. I just don't want to lead us on a tangent. We don't have to. So anyway.
Let's talk about Ghost Pepper Ranch sauce.
Ghost Pepper Ranch. No, let's talk about that Wingstop Ranch. Fuck that Ghost Pepper Ranch sauce.
I never did get to try the Ghost Pepper Ranch.
No, you didn't. They never gave it to us. Next pick on my list is Let's Go Crazy by Prince. Time for the 80s babies. Show them true colors. Mine is purple. Not really, but...
What's purple?
Says the man that says I never listen to him.
I accidentally closed my shit. I was having to open it back up.
My true colors. I'm saying that because it's Prince. I also recently just bought the Purple Rain vinyl.
Is purple your favorite color? Is that what you were saying?
No, it's not.
But purple is your color.
I was saying it because we're talking about Prince. No, green is my color.
Oh, okay.
God, Shane, come on. Prince, purple. You got
Rain.
it. Everything. Everything purple is Prince. Everything. Paisley Park.
Shirts and blouses.
Yes. Pancakes.
Powerful Stuff by Sean Hayes. Just before leaving Dallas for a Fort Worth suburb, Megan and I were invited to a going away thing at one of her employer's cribs. The husband was a bigwig at a company I'm not going to name, and they lived right down the street from the owner of the company I was working for. Needless to say, I was worried this wouldn't be my kind of a party crowd. But it was awesome. The husband and I spent most of the night talking music and jamming on his acoustic guitars. He hit me to this song that night and it stays stuck in my head as an example of how to subvert expectations of your guests in a good way when throwing a party. And then 9 in the Afternoon by Panic at the Disco. A big part of why I'm with my wife is because she can, at her best, take me back to those days when a party could jump off at any time without ingesting substances. At one point, most of us got to know what it was like to just be high on life. It was the right kind of company that made things magical back then. And I made the rather bright decision to have that kind of person be the greatest staple in my day-to-day existence. No matter where we are, no matter what time it is, that feel-good party vibe is always possible with her around.
Yeah, she's a good one. I will always say, you made a good choice.
I'm glad you approve. Next pick on your list, please.
Next pick is Bring in the Noise. Bring in the Noise.
Yeah.
By NSYNC.
God.
The parents are out of town. It's time to party like we're in a Disney Channel original movie. Like we're spending, mom and dad left us money, and what are we going to do? We're not going to buy beer, but we're going to buy a crap ton of soda and pizza.
Soda and pizza. Yeah. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Soda and pizza I can get behind. I was just about to say, I was excited to leave Idaho for this shit. Bring in the noise. It's so stupid. There's a part of my brain that's holding those lyrics, that song, that melody as a bit of fact instead of like understanding every bit of calculus, you know?
When we covered NSYNC, I forgot that song even existed, and it came on and I knew all the words, and it is still such a bop. I love that song.
A bop.
It's a bop. It's not
every time you say
Space Cowboy.
I hear Bop by Dan Seals.
No idea what you're talking about.
Well, when you hear the episode, because you're not going to remember after this, but when you hear the episode and I say what I just said, go listen to it.
Okay.
And you'll kind of get an idea. Don't get me wrong, I love that song. I love Bop by Dan Seals. It's a bop.
Yeah.
Literally.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Anyway, Booty Swang by Parov Stellar.
Mm-hmm.
Another track I associate with our highball drinking parties, also known as bond parties. Let's just say I've had more than enough time to think about how to bring those things back now that the move into the new house is complete.
Mm-hmm.
Our crowd is way overdue.
Damn straight. I'm sitting here thinking about how I'm going to pull off a Halloween party this year. I mean, I didn't move, but people are still, with the pandemic happening and, you know, everybody not wanting to leave their homes, I'm still trying to figure out who's going to commit to coming. So
you live an hour away, you know, that's your biggest
true.
That's your biggest problem.
That's true. You can let me throw it here.
Should just go on and move up here, and
it'd make for recording a lot easier.
Maybe what we need to do is just all combine forces, make it happen. Let's talk about it on the 4th. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Second pick is Make It Bun Them.
What?
Make It Bun Them.
Explain.
Like make it burn them.
Oh, okay. All right. Bundem.
Bundem.
By
Skrillex and Damian Marley. This is the song from Far Cry 3, which sees you burning down the weed farm with a flamethrower. Unsurprising then, that this song makes me think about video game parties. I've tried hosting a number of those things. Without fail, the most lasting fun we've been able to sustain with this has been while playing Rocket League, or even its underappreciated predecessor called Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars.
Thank God they changed.
Highly recommended that listeners try this party game at least once in their lives, maybe while listening to this very song if you feel like being extra.
Next on my list is Hey Ya by Outkast. fun, shimmerific funk. Big Boy and Andre 3000 are sure to get you shaking it. Shake it. Shake, shake, shake it.
Did you just say shimmerific?
You're welcome. We're making up words here on the Rated Radio podcast.
Oh, God.
Shimmerific.
I Feel It Coming by The Weeknd and Daft Punk. This is one of my current go-tos when getting ready for an upcoming party. It's just chill and sexy enough that it doesn't wreck my anticipation with an onslaught of hormones. Shouldn't surprise anyone to hear that I feel a connection to most music by The Weeknd. But a fun fact for my co-host here would be knowing that because this song features Daft Punk, I always imagine that beneath the duo's masks, I'd find my wife's brother Sean and Rayburn's significant other Blue. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes.
And my last pick is Roulette by Katy Perry, a more recent pick for the unreasonable lover which lives in me, the one who just wants to throw all caution to the wind and bed bliss for as long as I can with whoever I please. Like I said a few episodes back, I lead a rich fantasy life. Still, this song leaves me feeling ready to have any sort of good time every time I hear it. Enjoy.
And last on my list is Gonna Make You Sweat by C&C Music Factory, featuring Freedom Williams. No one can dance well to this song, but I highly encourage you to try. And every time I think about it, I think of Superstar.
That's the one that would have made my list, I think. When I was looking at your stuff. Yeah, that's a banger.
Yeah, it is.
So we failed to talk winners.
We did.
And since we have no draw this week, because next week will be my pick,
yes,
Lydia versus Diaz Vale. So stay tuned for that. But let's talk about who won for you.
It was Imagine Dragons.
Same.
I gave Imagine Dragons 18.5. Well, AJR got 15. The averages were super close, though.
Imagine Dragons for me, 18 to 26 with regard to fives.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still really respectable showing out of AJR.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I'd heard of 100 Bad Days for some reason. I don't exactly remember what it was, but yeah, it was nice to sit down with a new artist that I didn't even really know the name of, you know?
My significant other introduced AJR to me and our nephew, Gage. And of course, after all the bands that I show this kid, and literally I've taken on a role to him like you are to me, bought him a MP3 player, preloaded it with so much stuff. Out of all the bands I gave him, he picks the one band that Blue brings to the table and is obsessed about it.
Well,
of course.
You're a dork.
True. I can't even disagree there. I told him while he was visiting, I said, pretty soon you're going to realize just how uncool I am. He was like, well, I think you're pretty cool. I said, now, just wait.
He thinks you're pretty cool. That's his nice way of saying, yeah, Rayburn, I already know. Everybody knows.
Most people like me because I'm uncool. So I'm just going to ride that wave.
I like you because you're easy to have a good time with.
Thanks. You too.
So you may be kind of nerdy, but at least you're not serious all the time like I am. So
you're not serious all the time.
Well, when I'm serious, I'm serious. And when I'm not.
Yeah. I've told people and they're like, oh, how do you deal with Shane? How do you talk to him? I was like, think about 90% of what comes out of his mouth is him bullshitting with you. And don't take him too seriously.
That's kind of perfect. Yeah. That's going to do it for this week. Hit up our playlist to hear all the songs we talk about. Get our full ratings, t-shirts, bonus episodes at teespring.com/ratedradio. And we do have a brand new bonus episode up, so go check it out. If you like live music, especially check it out. Guide what we listen to by suggesting new artists for our jam jar. You can even send us voice messages on Facebook for a shot at being on the show. Your support really is what makes or breaks us, so thank you for listening and sharing. Until next time, fill your world with music. And happy birthday, Uncle Eric.
And we think, Dad, you're pretty shimmerific.